Hi, I'm Hazel. I'm 32 and 9 months pregnant with my first baby. Life has been tough lately, and I want to share my story in case it helps anyone else who's going through something similar. I live in San Francisco with my husband, Michael. He's 34 and works as a software engineer. Even though our life might look perfect from the outside, it's actually very difficult. Michael doesn't support me emotionally or help around the house. Most weekends, he's at his parents' house, leaving me to handle everything on my own. Even though I'm pregnant, I love photography, and taking photos of my daily life gives me some happiness. But Michael's lack of support and constant criticism often overshadow that joy. One night, Michael came home and demanded that I go buy beer from the store. I was tired and felt uncared for, but I agreed to go. On the way, I felt hurt and wondered why he couldn't go himself. But I knew arguing with him would only make things worse. When I came back, Michael barely noticed my effort and kept criticizing me. His words hurt a lot, but I tried not to cry. Our relationship had been getting worse, and his behavior was becoming more hurtful. The next morning, Michael acted like nothing happened. He was cheerful and didn't acknowledge the previous night. I decided to cook a special dinner to make things better. I spent the whole day preparing his favorite meal, but when he came home drunk, he insulted me and questioned my worth as a wife and mother. I felt even more isolated and unsupported as my due date got closer. Michael wanted to go on a family trip with his parents, and even though I was worried about traveling so close to my delivery, he ignored my concerns. His parents, who often criticized me, agreed with him. On the day of the trip, my water broke, and I was scared. I told Michael we needed to go to the hospital right away, but instead of helping, he kicked me out of the car, angry that I might mess it up. I felt completely abandoned. Thankfully, our neighbor Na saw me in trouble. Na, who was married to Michael's boss, rushed to help and called an ambulance. She stayed with me at the hospital and offered comfort while I gave birth. Her support was crucial during such a vulnerable time. In the hospital, as I held my baby, I couldn't stop thinking about Michael's neglect and his family's criticism. I knew I couldn't keep living like this. Na became a close friend and supported me through everything. She even told her husband about what happened, which was important later on. A video of Michael kicking me out of the car went viral, and the public backlash was huge. Michael lost his job, struggled to find new work, and faced a lot of public shaming. His behavior had severe consequences, and his reputation was damaged. Meanwhile, I found support from my parents and Na. They encouraged me to think about my future and my baby's well-being. I started considering divorce, realizing it was the best option for us. The strong evidence and public pressure made the divorce process easier, and Michael and his family reluctantly agreed to the terms. After my baby was born, my life began to change for the better. I knew I had to make decisions that were right for me and my child. Michael's behavior had become unacceptable, and I had to think about our future. Na continued to support me, visiting the hospital, bringing meals, and offering encouragement. Her husband, Mark, who is the CFO at Michael's former company, also supported me. It was comforting to know they both understood how serious the situation was. After I left the hospital, I moved in with my parents. They are older but very supportive and welcomed me and my baby with open arms. Their home in San Francisco became a safe and comforting place for us. I felt overwhelmed with gratitude for their care and love. As I settled in, I thought a lot about how I ended up here. The viral video of Michael kicking me out of the car had drawn a lot of attention, and the backlash against him was intense. He lost his job, had trouble finding new work, and faced a lot of public shame. Knowing that others saw his true behavior was a small comfort, but it didn't lessen the pain of his betrayal. Despite the chaos, I found peace in my new routine. My parents were wonderful, helping with the baby and giving me emotional support. I also grew closer to Na. She visited often, and our talks became a source of strength for me. She shared her own experiences and gave me advice, becoming a true friend. During this time, I began to think about my legal options. Na suggested talking to a lawyer about divorce. It was a scary thought, but I knew it was necessary for my baby's future. I found a compassionate lawyer who understood my situation. We discussed the details of my marriage, and I showed the evidence of Michael's neglect and abuse. The divorce process began, and it was relatively straightforward due to the public pressure and the viral video. Michael and his family had little choice but to agree to the terms. The process was a relief, though emotionally draining. Meanwhile, I started finding joy in small things again. My passion for photography was rekindled, and I took many pictures of my baby, capturing precious moments. These photos were a reminder of the new life I was building. One day, while walking with Na, she introduced me to her son, Jake. He was around my age, and we quickly became friends. Jake was kind and understanding, qualities I had missed in my relationship with Michael. He often helped me with the baby and offered to babysit, giving me some much-needed time to myself. Our friendship grew, and it started to turn into something more. Jake made me laugh and reminded me that there are good people in the world. My parents also liked him and were happy to see me smile again. It was a slow process, but I was beginning to heal. Na and Mark were incredibly supportive during this time. They helped me with single motherhood and the emotional aftermath of my divorce. Mark gave practical advice, while Na provided a listening ear and warmth. Despite the challenges, I felt empowered, taking control of my life and making decisions for me and my baby. The pain from Michael's neglect and abuse was still there, but it no longer defined me. I was stronger than I had realized. As I adjusted to life as a new mother and dealt with the fallout from my marriage, I found strength in the support around me. My parents, Na and Jake, were my constants, helping me through the toughest days. The divorce was moving forward, though it was emotionally taxing. Michael's family denied his behavior and tried to blame me for everything. Even though it was hard dealing with their criticism, I knew I had to stay strong for my baby. One morning, my lawyer called to tell me that Michael wanted to discuss the divorce settlement. I was nervous but agreed to meet if our lawyers were present. Facing Michael again made me anxious, but it was necessary. The meeting was tense. Michael looked worn out and bitter, blaming me for everything that had gone wrong. His words hurt, but I reminded myself that he was the one who had abandoned me. Our lawyers helped keep the discussion civil. Michael agreed to the terms, including child support and visitation rights. I felt a huge relief as this marked the end of a painful chapter in my life. When I got home, my parents were eager to hear about the meeting. Sharing the details with them felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders. My mother hugged me and said, "You're so strong, Hazel. We're proud of you." Their support was a great comfort. My relationship with Jake continued to grow. He was a positive presence in my life, and one evening he told me, "Hazel, you're amazing. You've been through so much, and yet you're still standing. I admire your strength." His words touched me deeply. For the first time in a long time, I felt appreciated and seen. Our bond grew stronger, and soon our friendship blossomed into something more. Jake became a loving part of my baby's life, and my parents were happy to see me happy. However, not everything was easy. Michael's parents kept interfering, calling and demanding to see their grandchild. They refused to accept the damage Michael had caused and acted as if nothing had changed. Dealing with their criticism was exhausting, but I stood firm, setting boundaries to protect my peace. One day, Na invited me over for coffee. We sat in her warm and welcoming kitchen, and she asked how I was doing. I told her about my struggles with Michael's parents and the difficulties of being a single mother. She listened carefully and then said, "Hazel, you've come so far. Don't let anyone take away your peace. You have every right to protect your happiness and your child's well-being." Her words were empowering. Na had become more than just a neighbor. She was a mentor and a true friend. Her husband Mark also helped by advising me on legal matters and explaining my rights. As the months went by, I grew stronger and more confident. I began taking on freelance photography projects, something I had always wanted to do. It felt great to pursue my passion and support my baby. Each photo I took was a sign of the new life I was building. My relationship with Jake continued to grow. He was patient, kind, and truly cared for me and my baby. One evening, while watching the sunset, he looked at me and said, "Hazel, I love you. I know it's been tough, but I want to be there for you and for both of you every step of the way." Tears came to my eyes as I realized how far I had come from feeling abandoned and neglected. I was now surrounded by love and support. I looked at Jake and said, "I love you too. Thank you for being here, for everything." After months of struggle and resilience, my life began to improve. The divorce was finalized and I was finally free from the toxic relationship that had held me back for so long. The day the papers were signed was bittersweet. I felt a sense of loss but also an overwhelming relief. My lawyer, who had been a steady support, said, "This is a new beginning, Hazel. You're doing the right thing for yourself and your child. With a divorce behind me, I focused on creating a stable and happy life for my baby and me. My freelance photography work started to grow, and I found joy in capturing special moments for others. Each project brought me closer to independence and self-fulfillment. Jake continued to be a constant source of support and love. He understood my past and respected my journey. One evening, while having dinner with my parents, Jake proposed to me. It was a simple, heartfelt moment. "Hazel, will you marry me?" he asked, his eyes full of hope. I didn't hesitate. "Yes, Jake, I will," I replied, tears of happiness streaming down my face. My parents were overjoyed, and my heart felt full. Na and Mark were thrilled for us as well. Na, who had been there from the start, gave me a tight hug and said, "You deserve all the happiness in the world, Hazel." I was grateful every day for the unexpected turn our relationship had taken and for the support of everyone around me. Michael and his parents kept trying to interfere, but I stood my ground and set clear boundaries. With Mark's legal advice and support, I made sure they respected our space. Their criticism no longer affected me. I was stronger and more confident, ready to protect my peace and my child's well-being. As time went on, I settled into a new routine. My days were filled with photography sessions, joyful moments with Jake, and the simple pleasures of watching my child grow. Jake was a wonderful father figure, and our home was full of love and happiness. One day, while sitting in Na's garden, we reflected on how much had changed. "You've come so far, Hazel. I'm so proud of you," she said, smiling. I looked around at the beautiful flowers and felt a deep sense of gratitude. "I couldn't have done it without you, Na. Your friendship means everything to me," I replied. My past, marked by neglect and emotional abuse, had transformed into a story of empowerment and independence. I had found my voice and strength. My life was now surrounded by supportive people who loved me for who I was. To anyone listening, I want to say, no matter how dark and difficult things may seem, there is always hope. Surround yourself with those who uplift and support you. Take it one step at a time and never forget your worth. Empowerment and happiness are within your reach. Thank you for following my journey.